Hello, hope everybody's doing well. If you like my little Chicago mob trials, please hit the like button, subscribe, and share. Today we're going to talk about the government snitches, rats, informants. It's amazing to me how juries and prosecutors actually believe half of what these snitches say. They'll say anything to keep themselves out of jail. And 95% of the trials I went to, there would not have been a conviction without these low-life government informants. Now, here's one of your older informants that you don't really hear about too much. Louis Frado. This guy was a Chicago outfit associate. He ran with Sam Battaglia back in the early days, as well as Milwaukee Phil. And he also had two brothers that were affiliated with organized crime as well. But he was one of the guys that first helped the government put together an organizational chart. Now, this guy, William Action Jackson, was an alleged informant. Sam Giancana, boss of the Chicago outfit at the time, thought for sure that he was a snitch. So we had Jackie Cerrone, Turk Torello, and Mad Sam DeStefano. They grabbed him, they tortured him, and they brutally murdered this guy. And while they were torturing him, Turk Torello said he never confessed, meaning Sam Giancana may have gotten it wrong. Another government informant who flipped, I didn't have a picture of him, was Alva Rogers. He testified against Joey Lombardo at the family secrets trial. He said that shortly after the Danny Seaford hit that they were all golfing, and Joey said, that son of a bitch isn't going to testify against anybody anymore. Joey denied it and called him a liar, but Alvin Rogers actually met Marshall Cafone in prison. Now here's Dick Kane. The late Dick Kane. He was very close with Sam Giancana back in the day. He was linked to the CIA, Fidel Castro assassination, the Kennedy assassination. He was involved in a lot of work. He was basically living the life of a double agent. They eventually found out, and he was at Rosie's Snack Shop on Grand Avenue, where two masked gunmen walked in and blew his head off. Now, another government informant or rat was Louis L. Medea. He was a member of the old Wild Bunch crew, and according to his testimony, he was part of the hit team that killed Bill Logan. He testified against Harry Alleman at the trial I went to at 26 California. The guy was a nervous wreck. I didn't think the jury would find him credible, but they did believe him. Now, a lot of us didn't know it at the time. We found out several years later. But Lefty Rosenthal, good friend of Tony Spilotro, he was actually an informant for the government as well. This guy, as we know, had an assassination attempt on his life. Some people thought it was Tony Spilotro. Some people thought it was the outfit bosses. Some people even think it was the Kansas City guys when they found out he was a rat. Now, this guy is an alleged informant. I personally don't believe it, but he was one of the men, according to Nick Calabrese, that was in the basement in Bensonville when the Spilotros got beat to death. Chicago outfit boss for several years. Many people think that because he was not charged in the Spilotro hit, that he could be an informant. I don't think No Nose is, or his brother Petey. What do you guys think? Now, here's a nice photo of Ken Ito, Tokyo Joe, in the hospital. Somehow, some way, an act of God, this guy survived a hit by the Chicago outfit. And then there he is several months later testifying against the outfit with the black hooded mask. Vince Solano, Angelo Lapetri, and Johnny Apes knew for sure he was an informant and put a hit out on him, but the guys botched the hit. Now, that's a tough son of a bitch. I seen James Lavelli, another Chicago informant for the government. He testified against Gus Alex at the Gus Alex trial. He was part of the Lenny Patrick violent extortion crew. He testified against his boss, Lenny Patrick, and he helped put away his good friend, Nick Gio, in prison for life. He also went on to testify against his partner in crime, Mario Ranoni. Number one, the worst government witness informant that I've ever seen, one of the nastiest men ever, was Lenny Patrick. He testified at the Gus Alex trial. He admitted to participating in over 100 armed bank robberies and confessed to over 20 murders. The jury actually believed this lowlife. Now, most of us know this late informant from the Grand Avenue neighborhood, an old pal of Tony Spilotro who moved out to Vegas, part of the Hole in the Wall gang. Government informant, rat snitch, Frank Collada. I never liked this guy, and I know a lot of guys in the Grand Avenue can't stand this guy and talk shit about him till this day, but Frank Collada was an informant. Now, right up there with Blowjob Jehoda and Lenny Patrick is Bob Cooley, ex-Chicago policeman, corrupt lawyer, claimed to be a Chicago mob associate, but he actually wore a wire and helped convict Pat Marcy, Fred Rohde, and Harry Alleman. He was the bag man that actually bribed a lot of the corrupt judges. I saw him on the stand and saw him lie as well. Now, one of the worst government witnesses, informants, rat snitches that I've ever seen in court was B.J. Jehoda. I seen him get on the stand at the Bobby Salerno trial and lie and said that Bobby Salerno, the man dressed in black, was one of the men, part of the Rocco Infelice crew that actually killed his good friend, Hal Smith. This guy's a real scumbag. Now here's this clown, an admitted informant for the government, Red Wemette. I missed his testimony in the Family Secrets trial. He was one of the earlier witnesses that the government called to the stand. But Red was an informant for several years, and he actually wired up his house in Old Town and got Frankie Schweiss talking about crimes that he committed. Now here's thief, burglar, degenerate gambler, Chicago outfit associate, Bobby the Beak Siegel. He testified at the Family Secrets trial that one time he did a robbery, but he didn't want to pull off the robbery because there was a dog inside, and he told Frankie that, hey, I don't do dogs. He also took a lie detectors test during the Ricardo break-in burglars when all of his friends started going missing, proving he had nothing to do with the Ricardo break-in. This is probably the top government informant rat they ever had. Nick Calabrese. He was the main witness at the legendary Family Secrets trial. He testified against his own brother, Jimmy Marcello, and several other Chicago outfit heavy guys. Nick was one of the guys at the house in Bensonville when the Splotros were killed, but he testified and participated in over 14 murders. Now, how this guy sleeps with himself, I'll never know. Frank Calabrese Jr., he's on a mission to write a book, do mob tours, even make a movie. His own brother, Kirk Calabrese, does not trust him or respect him. But this guy here actually wore a wire and testified against heavyweight killer, his father, Frank Calabrese, and ended up sending him to prison for the rest of his life. Now here's Big Lou. This guy's an undercover agent. He actually went undercover and conned and tricked Mark Polkman during the large trial. Mark Polkman is a pretty tough guy to get close to, but he went in there with the ruse that they had several things in common, and he actually testified against Mark Polkman and Mike Sarno and ultimately put him away. Now, here's a real lowlife here. The government really knows how to pick him. He was an informant, a snitch, a rat that testified against Mike Sarno, Samuel and Anthony Volpendenzo, and Mark Polkman. He actually wore a wire on Sammy, getting him to talk about the bomb that he made. In one home robbery, he got in a fight with a senior citizen. The senior citizen was getting the best of him. This lowlife stabbed him in the leg in order to get away. Now, one of the most recent informants from the Grand Avenue neighborhood, I never met this guy or seen him, thank God, We got Jeff Hollingshead. He was part of the PK crew and basically decided to cooperate against Bobby P., his good friend Paulie K. Not sure if he said anything about AV or not, but I'm sure the feds were really pressing him about other members of the Grand Avenue crew. RIP to this man, the passing of Jimmy I. He just passed away a few days ago. I was thinking about going to his wake, but I decided not to go. Jimmy I, as we all know, was a made member of the Chicago Outfit, a member of the old Wild Bunch crew, and at one time he was the boss of the Sister crew at one time, reported right under Sally D, and it came out shortly after his death that Jimmy I was an informant for about 4 or 5 years. I don't think he gave the government much, though.